Okay, good morning everyone. My name's Daniel Clements and I'm pleased that Aga is also joining us from Groundshaw to run through the majority of this webinar. I just wanted to put my face on the screen just in case you haven't seen me before, but I'm going to turn off my face shortly and hand over the controls to Aga. Just to kind of run through a very high level agenda, if I can just, here we go. So we're going to run through the detail of the insight report from Aga, and then I'm going to come online at the very end of this and just talk through how to access that through eMapSite and show you where you can obtain a sample report and how to order. As per the Q&A, there's the comment section, so if you've got questions throughout the presentation, please add them there, and I will pick those up at the end and ask either myself or Aga the question and resolve those. Anything we're not sure about or anything we need to get additional information for you on, we'll come back to you additionally after this session. So I'm going to now hand over the controls to Aga and turn off my screen, and I'll see you in about 20 minutes.
Thanks, Dan. Can you hear me okay?
All good.
Perfect. Hello, good morning, everyone. It's Aga from Groundshaw. I am one of the account managers with Groundshaw Insight, and I've been part of the business for 3 years now, and working in my team for a year and a half. I will go through a couple of important changes that we made in February of 2020 to our standard, to our main core products, the Envaro and Geo reports. Do bear in mind there were many changes implemented during the development process, but I'm just going to highlight the most important ones. If you have any questions about the reports, you can get in touch with your account manager at the eMapSite or their customer service, and they will send your questions over to me directly, and I'll be happy to assist and answer any questions. So to start off with, we have our, there you go, sorry. No slides. So we have our top 10 USPs, and what we're going to talk about is a little bit about data. We're going to talk about the brand new navigation and also changes to the design. Some people can argue that navigation is part of the design, but because in itself it's such a major feature of the report, we decided to give it its own spot and a talking point. So the whole process of research and development took us over 2 years. We had testing groups, we had face-to-face meetings, over 40 of those, and after all of that research, we decided to go ahead with the current version of the report, with over 70 unique data sets added to the Envaro and Geo reports, and the whole design of the report changed altogether. So first, what we wanted to present you with is a report that doesn't require any add-ons. So essentially, you select one product, and what you get is everything you can get from Groundshaw. So we include the 10K geology data as part of the standard Envaro Geo reports. The 10K geology data is, as you probably are well aware, is the most detailed BGS map, and actually the highest detail available on the BGS viewer free of charge is 1 to 50K. So the 1 to 10K map has to be actually purchased online. We add that in whenever there is coverage available without any extra charge. We also provide you with a fully polygonized land use database, that's the HLAD. It's derived from our comprehensive collection of 1.5 million historical ordnance survey maps. We provide you with current and brand new historical aerial images, and also OS master map site plan. Now, for the OS master map site plan, we made a decision to add that in because OS master map plan gives you a clearer picture of your site, allowing reference of the current layout and land use versus the historical state of site. we provide you with the OS master map for any site of standard shape under 10 hectares. So if your site is fairly small, but it's a linear one dragging for miles, the OS master map will be automatically removed from the PDF report as there are problems with scaling and we just can't include that in. If your site is over 10 hectares or it's a linear site, the OS master map will be automatically removed and no alternative mapping will be added to the report. And as you can see on the example on the left-hand side, this is an actual page of the report. We always provide you with site details like the site area, the site size, and also address. And also on the right bottom corner, you can see there is a license included as well. So this site plan can be actually used as an attachment, for example, for planning application or as its own PDF plan as well. So not only gives you a better understanding of the current layout of the site, but it actually allows you to use that plan later on for different parts of the projects. Now for the aerial imagery. There you go. So as you probably know, if you worked with Grantshore reports pre-launch, pre-change in Feb, we used to provide the most current aerial image as standard. What's new is that we are now providing you with historical aerial images dating back to 1999 as well. And the idea behind it is to bridge the gap between the historical maps and the most current up-to-date mapping and historical aerial image. We provide you with an even split of the date range to give you a better understanding of the changes on site over the years. The recent aerial image is going to be the most up-to-date and usually it's within 3 years. And we will provide you with maximum 5 images that will include the most recent one. Sometimes on sites, rural areas where there aren't many images available, you will probably notice that less than 5 are provided. It's not because we made a decision to cut some out, it's because they're just not enough available for us to actually include 5. Next, we have the industrial setting. So a brand new feature and add-on that we introduced with the new reports is the grouped historical land use database. So rather than repeat obviously continuous features across the years as individual records in tables and OR mapping, we have developed an intelligent dissolve function to group related features and display instead as one unified feature with a date range. So to give you an example on the screen, you can see that on the left-hand side, we have one feature that is tank located very close to different years tanks, and we can from experience we can deduct that it's actually one feature identified on multiple historical mapping. After we deploy the intelligent dissolve function on the right hand side, you can see that we merge the polygons and we merge this one feature into one ID with a date range from 1940 to 1970. This intelligent dissolve function reduces the number of records presented within the report, saving you time on an analysis. However, if you wish to see, to check the logic behind this feature, we always provide you with the ungrouped section within the report as well, so you can actually go through every single record individually on your own. And next, oh, I think I skipped the slide. There you go. Now, for the second part of the industrial setting, we have 2 quite important data sets that we wanted to talk about. As I mentioned, we added over 70 brand new data sets, and so we are just going to talk about a couple, don't worry about it. We don't have enough time, I think, to talk about all 70. So the first one I wanted to highlight is the pollution inventory. The pollution inventory data is provided by the Environment Agency, and it details releases and transfer of substances from industrial activities EA regulates. That includes the annual emission of certain substances to air, controlled waters and land, and also off-site transfer in wastewater and waste. Why this information is important? Well, with this particular record, you can plan your site investigation more effectively for two reasons. One, you have a better understanding of what sort of substances you can expect to be present on site. And two, some substances listed within the pollution inventory data may not be part of a standard lab test, so might have been otherwise missed. Now, the second data set are waste exemptions. There are 4 types of exemptions depending on activity. So it's using waste, disposing of waste, treating waste, and storing waste. Waste exemptions are an effective measures that ensure the waste operation is 1, complies with the 2016 permitting regulations, and 2, does not harm the environment and human health. So before we added this information as standard into our reports, you would have to go out and search the public register on the EA website to find this information. And again, there are small data sets that put together to give you a much better understanding of the current situation on site, potential historical issues, and also grant stability situation. And next is the hydrological and hydrogeological setting. And I do say it fairly quickly, but it's a tricky one. So a brand new add on to the Grandshore Insight report is the Water Framework Directive. The currently available water quality data is out of date and it's not fit for purpose. What we included within the old Grandshore Insight reports and what is provided currently by other providers is over 9 years old information. Therefore, we made a decision that urgently we need to make sure that we provide the most up-to-date information. Hence, Water Framework Directive has been added to the report. The Water Framework Directive data fills the gap in the reporting of water quality and catchment implications for site assessments, and potentially saves the user a visit to Catchment Explorer website, streamlining workflow. We know for a fact that Water Framework Directive, the Catchment Data Explorer, is very tricky to work with, let's just say it that way. You can actually spend quite a lot of time trying to find the relevant records and the important information. With the Grandshore Insight report, you get a short summary of records within the report and then hyperlink taking you directly to Water Framework Directive website that gives you all of the information on the water bodies on site and in near facilities. Next one is the flood risk. What we did with our reports, if you ever worked with Grandshore reports, you probably remember the old days when Flood Insight report was available on our ordering platform. This report is no longer present and it's killed. It no longer exists. What we did instead is we included all of the flood information into our Enviro Insight report. And the detailed assessment of surface water flooding and groundwater flooding is added from Ambiental. It's utilizing multiple return periods and predicted depths. An additional river and coastal data is now provided for Scotland. And it gives you a full overview of flooding from multiple sources, allowing you to determine whether further flood risk assessment will be necessary on your site. Now, sorry, I'm just gonna get some water. Sorry, guys. I'm back, sorry for that. So why are we using Ambiental? They model 25% more rivers than any UK flood models. They regularly validate and calibrate their data using actual flood events in the UK. They integrated flow rate and rainfall data into their model, and over 82% of the properties are modeled using LiDAR data. And what you can see on the example on the right-hand side is a Carlisle Football Club. And you can clearly see a site outlined in red, and then there is flood risk identified all around the property and also right in the middle of the site. And if we look on the next slide, on the left hand side is exactly the same area in 2015. So you can see the risk of flooding that was identified on the report is actually identically represented on this particular flood event. So as you saw on the previous image, the club is at risk of surface water flooding and is situated within flood zone 2, and it's protected by flood defenses. And on the bottom right hand corner, you can see a large hydrocarbon plume, which was likely caused by fuel tank or a similar tank, and it's possibly tank which is located on site. Now, on the on the right-hand side, you can see an image of Oxford. It shows you a number of historical landfills located in very close proximity to the various watercourses within the city. And those two images demonstrate the importance of understanding where your contaminants could come from and how they can migrate as a result of flooding and flood waters. And the next one is gonna be about ground risk. So during the 2 years process of research and development, we had multiple requests for Royal Mail tunnels to be added into the reports. And the only other data provider is a direct source, and actually this information is very expensive to get on its own. Now, whenever applicable, the Royal Mail tunnels information is included within the EnvironGeo reports. And it basically gives you a depth and location of the Royal Mail tunnels beneath London. They were used in underground transit of mail between 1927 and 2003. We also provide you with a location and estimated depth values for London Underground, location of standard railway tunnels, and information on underground or partially underground railway projects such as Crossrail, Crossrail 2 and HS2. We also provide you with non-natural ground subsidence risk information from our suite of mining and ground walking data set. Some derived exclusively from our historical map collection. So this is a one-of-a-kind information that you can get within our EnvironGeo reports. And what we did with the Royal Mail tunnels is actually we went out and physically digitalized the original plans and locations showing depth and included it within our database. And like I said, all of this information is now included as standard without any additional fee. And the second part of the ground risk, a brand new data set that we recently added to the report are the mineral planning areas. So between 2001 and 2003, the BGS received around 1,400 1 to 25K scale maps an associated card index from the Office of Deputy Prime Minister. I think now it's called Department for Communities and Local Government. And those maps were originally compiled by the Minerals Division of the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, and they contained hand-drawn boundaries for permitted, withdrawn and refused mineral planning permissions and worked ground. They also contain hand-drawn boundaries for land use for each site, and these maps show information collated from around 1940s to mid-1980s. The BGS digitized those records, which now forms the historical mineral planning data sets, and we use it within our reports. The data sets hold information relating to 1, planning permissions granted for mineral extraction and associated facilities, and 2, the historical land use associated with permitted, withdrawn and refused mineral planning permission sites. This data nicely supplements other unique data sets on ground extractions activities that we now include our reports, and they complement each other very well, giving you a much better understanding of potential ground risk and implications on your site. And the last one on data set is the environmental setting. So as part of the environmental setting, we have multiple brand new data sets added. 3 of those I would like to highlight is the SSSI impact risk zones, the visual and cultural designations, and enhanced environmental designations. So the SSSI risk zones are zones, the buffer zone around SSSI that can potentially restrict your activity on site and potential development. So on the right hand side, you can see a local example of Brighton Marina Village. The area in yellow is the SSSI under protection, and then the red lined area is the buffer, is the impact risk zone that actually restricts works and also restricts any potential planning applications. It's very important to know if you, for example, plan to do some impact assessment and intrusive works on site. It's important to know whether or not you are in the impact risk zone and you are under certain regulation. And we also include data sets on sites which are protected for the visual and cultural value, including national parks, areas of outstanding beauty, natural beauty, conservation area, World Heritage Site, listed buildings, which from a conversation with environmental consultant, he's very excited to have that added in, scheduled ancient monuments, and registered park and gardens. There is a list of all of the data sets included within our reports. If you would like to request that, do contact Emapsite customer service. I'm sure they'll be happy to send it over to you. Now quickly about the changes to the layout of the report. First of all, we have the summary section. It combines previous content page and the summary page. They look pretty much exactly the same, but they just added volume to our reports. So now it's all combined into one summary of findings. The all report content is summarized in one place, and its breakdown, you can see a breakdown for overall search distances. So every single data set is highlighted to what search buffer we are actually searching those data sets. Identified features are clearly highlighted, allowing you to instantly pick those up. So essentially, if we search a data set and there was no results return, this particular part of the summary of findings will be grayed out. So on the example on the left-hand side, you can see historical military land is completely grayed out because there was nothing identified on site or in the search buffers. And the summary of findings is also the hub of the in-report navigations. You can click on any of the main sections and that takes you to the map within the report. If you click on the highlighted or bolded data subsection, it will take you directly to the table with all of the information regarding that particular data set. Now for data sections. We introduced brand new maps with improved styling to avoid any sort of confusion that we came across with the old reports and those wishy-washy colors. We implemented a dynamic intelligent legends, and they only show you data present on the map. That basically cuts out all the not relevant features that could be potentially identified. Every data is highlighted within the report, and also the data source of the data sets is listed. And you can see to aid the navigation on the left bottom corner of every page, you have a home button that takes you directly back to the summary section. And for data subsections, there are 2 major changes that we implemented. The clear highlighting of records on site versus those nearby. And our idea behind it is to give you a quicker, easier identification of all of the features that are present within the site outline versus in the search buffer in this certain distance from your site. We are not making a judgment whether or not certain features are less important than the others. We're just highlighting which ones are actually present within the site outline and which one are far away from your site. And map page will be linked always within the subsection. So if you go in a table far away from the map and you want to cross-reference, you can always click on the hyperlink. On this example we have, you can clearly see that features are displayed on the current industrial land use map on page 63. Once you click on page 63, this will take you directly from the table to the map relevant to this particular section. Now, when we ask our clients and our test group to what extent this would be an improvement to the reports, majority of the testing consultants agreed and strongly agreed that this would be a major improvement versus old reports. And then I have a quick video to demonstrate the in-report navigation. I hope it's gonna play. Oh, it is not playing. That I didn't actually test it before. Sorry, guys. Dan, can you help me out here? Are you able to go back to the presentation? This is something I didn't expect at all. Sorry, guys. I don't know if we'll be able to play it, do you think?
We're having technical problems. I think we should skip the video.
Okay, okay. I can't see the presentation now. Okay, so we have in-report navigation. And then we have report to external site navigations. Essentially, it shows you how to go to the Water Framework Directive website and also BGS records. On the screen here, you can see that any of the web links that are available to click on, they will be highlighted, and then you just click on the website. It takes you directly to the relevant BGS borehole record. And also a quick word about the historical mapping. We talked a lot about the Enviro and Geo reports because they were completely changed in February 2020. Our historical mapping maps haven't changed. Oh, sorry. They haven't changed. They are still the best quality available on the market. Our historical maps are provided in both grayscale and color. Whenever the original was in color, we scanned them as well. And the detail is much more visible on our web maps versus any other currently available on the market. So on the left-hand side, you have example of the same site in a much lower quality versus a Groundshaw map in color at scanned at 500 dots per inch. Like we mentioned, it's over 1.5 million historical maps. They were sourced directly from OS Southampton, and we also include town plans at 1 to 500 scale, and we also provide you with fire insurance plans wherever they are available. Done. Okay, and next slide. Sorry, I can't skip. There you go. And just to round it up, we obviously provide our reports as PDFs and GIS data. Data tables and maps, they are side by side in our PDF reports in the same document that allows you to quickly transition from maps to data without any problems. And also, if you purchase the bundle, what we do now is that we merge Enviro and Geo reports into one PDF file, so you don't have to flick and search for stuff. It's all within one files. GIS data follows exactly the same section extraction format as PDF reports. There is universal styles across both PDF and GIS for seamless switching. The GIS obviously is the future. We expect our industry to head towards GIS more and more often, but we are aware that a change from PDF to GIS also requires quite a lot of money and time spent on training. That's why we started off with launching a brand new PDF reports, but our updated GIS data is available. Any sort of requests and quotes, they can be submitted to customer service at Emapsite, and they'll be happy to provide you details and pricing. And let's just, so all of the changes that we talked about today, the layout of the report, new data added to the report, hyperlinks and navigation, all of that combined was assessed to save your time 10 to 20%. So this is the number that was actually highlighted to us by our test group and the current users. So they estimated, depending on the area obviously and how badly and busy the site is, the new report layout actually saves them a significant amount of time on the analysis of the risk. And just to give you a quick overview of our pricing, we have all of our reports available as standalone PDFs. So you have the Enviro, Geo, and Map. They can be purchased on their own. However, if you buy them as a Grancho Insight bundle, you save a significant amount of money. On top of that, you also get the Enviro and Geo reports combined into one PDF. As I mentioned, across the Geo and Enviro reports, we have over 70 brand new unique data sets, and around 95% of those data additions are not available from any other providers, and they are data sets that were specifically requested from us by users like yourself, geotechnical engineers and environmental consultants. And the last bit is our Groundshore Insight user guide. It's a brand new document that was developed as part of the launch of the new reports. It has in-depth data description. Every single data set that can be found in PDF reports is described within the user guide. It has a short description, it has a data source highlighted, and also data update frequency. You can also find within the user guide some additional information about why certain changes were made to the report, what they mean, and so on. This is a live PDF document. It's hyperlinked within every single Groundshore report on the first page, and it can be downloaded. However, it's a live document, so we made changes to it as we go. So I highly recommend that you access it online. If you want to download it, feel free. However, after a while, it is possible that there are certain changes that are put into the online version that you no longer have in the PDF. And that's it for me, Dan. Thank you very much. If you guys have any questions, just submit them through, and we're going to go through it at the end. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully you can still see my screen. Thank you, Aga, for your presentation. Can everybody still hear me?
I can.
Excellent, just checking. I just wanted to just cover off the last 2 minutes where to obtain the reports and how to order them through Emapsite. So I know most of you that are on the presentation today are already current Emapsite users, but if you don't have an Emapsite account, please create one. Before I go into actually how to order, just as a reminder and support Aga's conversation here, you can go into our marketing pages, and within our marketing pages, you can see the suite of products that we offer. But I want to focus on the Groundshore Insight reports today, and you can click on the Insight reports here. And then if before you actually make your own first order, you can go into the Insight report, which we've particularly focused on, but this is also the GIS product that we've made reference to today. And you can actually see a sample PDF of each of the individual reports. So if you want to have an interact and play around with a sample report before you order one, please do so. Regarding the actual how to order, you can go into the report section. So most people are going into buying your master map extracts and other mapping through MapShop. but for the reports as such, you need to go through the report section, and there's a kind of key reason why we've split those two out. I'm just going to quickly get some data on the screen. So this is my standard search, but you will get your location. If you need more training, please talk to me afterwards, but just to put a quick area around a bit of data, and what you'll do is on the top you've got your Groundshaw report, and the big difference between ordering a master map extract and ordering a report, as you can see, it's giving you a buffer zone that will be within the report. So naturally, if that's your site of interest and there's a piece of contaminated land or a petrol filling station further away that could have an impact to your site, you're going to want to be able to pick that up. And as we take that site out, which you'll be more interested in talking about bigger size locations, that buffer zone will also additionally expand, and then the price will change accordingly. As per what Groundshaw presented, and Aga, exactly the same prices, so you can just select your format and add that to your basket and purchase that, and that will come through to you in the normal way. I don't want to go through any other products as such at this stage, but before we go, and just to give you a few minutes, is there any questions that you've got for either Emapsite, myself, or Aga? If you can add those to the comment section or the Q&A section, that'd be great. We'll just give another 30 seconds for any additional questions to come through. Otherwise, we'll say thank you and speak to you very soon. So,
Dan, just a quick note about the failed videos. I didn't even thought about actually testing those before, but if any of the participants of the webinar would like to get the videos sent to them via email, they can request it through your customer service. I'll be happy to provide that as a separate thing.
Brilliant. So after this call, we will, the webinar's been recorded, so we'll send you a copy of the webinar that's been recorded, and also I'll get a copy of the video and just include that into the email that I will send to you, so you've got all copies of that. Right, there's no additional questions coming through, and I think all the questions that have come up, Aga has covered and I've covered throughout the session. So please reach out to me if you've got any questions, and in the meantime, have a fantastic afternoon, and we will speak to you all very soon, and thanks for your time.
Thank you. Speak to you later, guys. Bye.